There are a few pitchers for Cleveland who could have the key to a pennant. And there's one pitcher in New York who cannot be closer anymore.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. I've been a baseball podcaster for a while. This is going to be wrapping up my sixth full season here at the Locked On Podcast Network, where I'm doing double duty. I'm the host of Locked On MLB, and for the next couple weeks, I'm the host of Locked On A's. Today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 to get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And by the way, follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or on Instagram. I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. And if you're listening to us every day, make sure to put that hashtag EverydaySully on any comments you make. Let us know who's following us. And also let me know if you're listening to both shows. I'm only doing double duty for just a couple more weeks until the end of the season. So, if you're enjoying what we're doing there, we're having a lot of fun at Locked On A's, and I hope you're enjoying it. All right, a lot of things. All the games are over right now. And by the way, sorry I couldn't get a show up yesterday. You will get your 5 Locked On MLB and your 5 Locked On A's shows this week. I was a little pooped last night. I've been having a lot of allergy issues, and I just needed to get something. I need some time to get some rest. But you'll get 5 episodes of Locked On MLB, 5 episodes of Locked On A's. All the games are over right now. The White Sox have lost 109 games. They're going to lose 110 probably by tomorrow, certainly the day after tomorrow. And they are all but an absolute lock to have the worst record in the history of the 162 game era in baseball. And with the Orioles win and the Yankees defeat, which we will get into later this segment. Let's get into it now. I'll go a little bit out of order. The Orioles won 9-0 over the White Sox, which meant the White Sox literally could have just not shown up. Because if the White Sox didn't show up, it would have been a forfeit. And an official score for a forfeit is 9-0. And I've said this, I don't care who you are, you have to beat not showing up. And the White Sox couldn't do that. Well, in the other game of note, the Yankees took on the Texas Rangers. And the Texas Rangers have been pretty spunky. They had 2 walk-off wins against Oakland. And today, Heaney pitched well for the Rangers. He struck out 8 batters in 5 shutout innings. But Carlos Rodon was terrific. And Rodon has had a weird up and down year. It's tough to make sense out of him. But today he was phenomenal. He led up a solo home run to Young, the third baseman for the Rangers. And he walked 2 batters, but that was it. 6 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts. Now, I will raise this question. Rodon threw 99 pitches. Now, could he not have thrown 100? Could he not have gone out in the 7th inning? It's clear that the Rangers weren't tattooing him. Why not have him try the 7th? As it turns out, Canely came out, let up a run. Cousins let up a run in a wild 8th inning, of which the Rangers chipped away, and they got to within a run. And Pennington and Garamito worked out of trouble in the 9th, which came back to haunt the Yankees. And Clay Holmes came in. All-star closer, Clay Holmes came in. His line today was nothing short of grotesque. He threw 1/3 of an inning, walked 2 batters, allowed 2 hits, and allowed 4 earned runs in 1/3 of an inning, including the walk-off grand slam to Wyatt Langford. Yes, the Rangers have been having a lot of big-time clutch games, and this is their second walk-off multi-run lead where they were losing a come-from-behind walk-off home run in the last, since Sunday. But here's the deal. Clay Holmes is nominally an all-star closer. Brent Rooker did not make the all-star team. Clay Holmes did. He was facing the bottom of the lineup. Now, granted, they wound up using pinch hitters, but it was Jankowski, Kelly, who actually batted, and Smith. It's not actually Smith wasn't a pinch hitter. He'd pinched it earlier. It wasn't like he was facing Ruben Sierra, Juan Gonzalez, and Josh Hamilton all in their prime. I just tried to pull 3 Rangers out of my butt. This is the 11th blown save for Clay Holmes. 11 blown saves. And they've come all year long. The Yankees bullpen will let up 6 unanswered runs. And they hand the ball to a closer whose ERA is above 3. So that means on an average, he lets up 1 run every 3 innings. He has 11 blown saves. Now, the save is not the greatest metric in the world for a reliever, but 11 times the Yankees gave him the ball with a lead, and 11 times he's blown it. If the Yankees have any hope of having a pennant dance in their head right now, they cannot have Holmes close. I don't care who. Here's a novel thought. Don't worry about the closer role. Pitch whoever is the best matchup for that time and let the saves fall where they may. When you don't have a Rivera or Uehara circa 2013 or Brad Lidge circa 2008, don't act like you do. Mix, match, pull people. Bruce Bochy did that like crazy when he was managing the Giants in the World Series. And if he saw Santiago Castillo couldn't handle it, Romo got some innings. If Romo couldn't handle it, Jeremy Affolk got some innings. And if worst came to worst, he was just going to throw Madison Bumgarner until his arm fell off. If the Yankees want to win a pennant, they cannot put him in the closer role. Meanwhile, let's give a lot of credit to Cleveland. Remember what happened with Cleveland? When Cleveland fell into that slump and Kansas City started clobbering them. And on August 27th, the Royals caught him. They caught him. The day after sweeping him in a doubleheader, they caught him. They were tied 133 games into the season. So that meant 29 games left. And the Royals were dead even. Well, guess what's happened since? The Royals haven't won a game. And Cleveland has shown, holy cats, they're on a roll. They're on an absolute roll. And they won again today. Do you know who they beat today? They beat Kansas City. Bibee pitched. Now, I got to be honest with you. For a while, I thought his name was Bibee. But it's Bibee. And Bibee, who's been hurt a while, came back through 6 innings, 2 hit ball. And unlike the Yankees, the Cleveland bullpen did not blow it. And Clase didn't even come in. And so with that, Kansas City hasn't won a game in a week. And Cleveland has opened up a 5-game lead in the division. Now, for those of us who don't want to see Houston winning the pennant again, and let's face it, at this point, with all the American League teams looking super vulnerable, doesn't Houston look better and better as a potential pennant winner? Especially since Yordan Alvarez is hitting the ball like crazy. Alex Bregman is starting to right the ship. Jose Altuve can still hit. And a rotation that has Valdez, Blanco, Brown, Arrighetti. Hell, Verlander's the 5th pitcher. And the Taylor Scotts of the world and the Yusei Kikuchi is giving them some depth. Houston's looking more and more like a pennant winner. But alas comes Cleveland, who's had some huge ups and some huge downs. But one of the ironic things for them has been their starting pitching has been a bit of a yoke on them with all the injuries. Right now, Tristan McKenzie, Logan Allen, and Carlos Carrasco, not that that's exactly Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz, but they're all on the injured list. But have you noticed a couple of things? Bibee's been pitching really well. He was great today. Gavin Williams pitched really well. Alex Cobb, who they picked up for, I don't know, a used DVD copy of Major League 2, has pitched terrific. If some of these unlikely Cleveland pitchers, a healthy Bibee, a better Lively, Gavin Williams, Cobb, if these pitchers can all pitch well, and Matthew Boyd can all pitch well, not over 162 games, but over a couple of weeks. All you have to do with Cleveland's bullpen is operate. It's ironic that they're going up against Kansas City for these wins because they have to operate with the mentality of the Royals in 2015. Remember that team? They had good starting pitching. By the way, Johnny Cueto, who threw the last World Series complete game, is a free agent again. He was on that Royals team. Their starting pitching was fine. But give that team the lead and that incredibly deep bullpen that they had. Eventually would be bridge up to a Wade Davis. Holland was injured, by the way. They actually could have even had a deeper bullpen. But that was the key. Play good defense, get the big hit, and that bullpen would carry the way. That's kind of what this Cleveland team is looking like. Now, the Yankees are vulnerable. All it takes is one hiccup from their starting rotation, and they're right now in second place. We've all seen the Orioles have been vulnerable because they're in the same division as the Yankees, who played White Sox-level baseball for about 7 weeks, and the Orioles couldn't take advantage of it. We see the Mariners, who have terrific starting pitching, but are now a sub-500 team thanks to back-to-back walk-off losses in Oakland. Kansas City hasn't won in a week. Minnesota is up and down, which leaves you really with Houston and Cleveland. I think right now Houston's the team to beat. But if they can get this unlikely group of starting pitchers to pitch well enough to hand the ball over, things could look good. That could mean they'll face Philadelphia. And if that's the case, look out for Schwarber. All right, you know all about Gametime. Gametime is the place to get tickets for any live event. Not just baseball, not just football or basketball, but for theater, for comedy, for concerts. And Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And they have all-in pricing, which means you do not get any surprise fees at the end. And the curation for Gametime Picks makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. You get a panoramic view for the seat in the app before you apply with Seat Views, the lowest price guaranteed. Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. And Gametime ticket coverage has your tickets covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. And I want to thank you all for making Locked On MLB your first listen. For your second listen, why not check out my other podcast, which is Locked On A's. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, and it's available on YouTube and on Amazon TV and the Free Fire Channel app. Check out Locked On A's as we are counting down the final few weeks. We've got fewer than a month left of games in Oakland. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of history in that stadium. So follow us on Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Where's your team every day? What a day for Kyle Schwarber, by the way. And he was coming off of a huge slump. And I was listening to the Phillies announcers. They said he had a 3-home run game in Los Angeles and a 3-home run game today in Toronto. And in between those games, he's been awful. But his book ended him with 6 home runs. He is one of the strangest players I've ever seen. Someone who's, if you looked at anything resembling traditional stats, he's just average. And then you peel back those average stats and you have someone who is pretty remarkable. He's going to have an OPS of 8. He has 843 OPS. He now has 31 home runs. If you like RBI, which I still do, He has 88 of them. But today he went 5 for 6. 5 for 6. And this was, by the way, this was a game that was quintessential Blue Jays. Now, Phillips was starting for the Phillies, and he was awful. He put them, and he didn't get out of the first. Now, the Phillies got a leadoff home run from guess who? Schwarber. But then Varsho homered in the first, and then they got a run on a ground out. They got a Kirk single, and then Addison Barger hit a home run, and it was 6-1. 6-1 at that point. And the Blue Jays, who at this point don't really have a chance, but if they have a dynamic September, maybe they can crawl above 500. And they're up 6-1, and they've knocked the Phillies starting pitcher out. And then let the chip away begin. Castellanos drove in a run. Stott drove in a run. Oh, in the fourth, look at that. The second homer of the day for Schwarber. Now, Vladdy Guerrero hit the home run in the sixth, but then another RBI single for Schwarber. Suddenly it's a one-run game in the, in the seventh inning. And then in the ninth, Schwarber hits the three-run homer that puts the Phillies up for good. Strahm holds on. It's 10-9. The Phillies gain a game on the Milwaukee Brewers and remain ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, they're just behind the Los Angeles Dodgers for the best record in the National League. The Phillies have shown some vulnerability. The Phillies have shown that they can lose some games. But lordy, the Toronto Blue Jays are awful. They're awful. And they're a disgrace because this is a team that has star power. This is a team that has Vladdy Guerrero Jr. that had nominal good pitchers playing in a division where you got a subpar years from many of the American League teams, including the defending champion Rangers, including the Rays, all these teams that had subpar years, and the Blue Jays, with all the star talent they had on there and making the last bunch of postseasons, 3 of the last 4 postseasons, and the Blue Jays, forget a pennant. They are 67-73. If they lose 8 more games this year, they'll be a 500 team. If they lose 9 more games, they will have a losing record. And no one has ever been able to explain to me why they never made them big change, why they never pulled the manager, why they never said, do you know what? We don't accept this. But here we are. The Blue Jays are about to torpedo this season. And the general manager of the Blue Jays and everyone in charge of the team has a lot to answer for. But do you know who doesn't have a lot to answer for? Well, a bunch of the GMs can all take a bow, fold their arms, and say, we did our job. Hear me out. You've heard us talk about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different from you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 to get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every single regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. Hey, this is a reminder that Locked On has created the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get your shows. Locked On Sports Today is also available on Amazon TV and the free Amazon Fire TV channel app. Check out Locked On Sports Today, part of Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. All right. I was going to talk about this yesterday, but my allergies kicked in. Labor Day is behind us. We can all say goodbye to Labor Day. And with that, we are in the stretch run of baseball. There can be no more trades that you can add to. You can't add to your postseason roster from another organization. This is the team that is being taken down the stretch. And if you're a team that right now, with Labor Day in your rearview mirror, are either a playoff team right now, or in the case of the New York Mets, half a game out of the playoffs, and you're the general manager of that team, or the president of baseball operations, whatever it is, you can right now just say, you're welcome, fold your arms, and realize there's nothing more you can do. Mike Elias, Executive Vice President, General Manager of the Baltimore Orioles, take a bow. Chris Antonetti, President, and Mike Chernoff, General Manager of the Cleveland Guardians, take a bow. Derek Falvey, President, and Thad Levine, General Manager of the Minnesota Twins, take a bow. J.J. Piccolo, General Manager of the Royals, take a bow. Dana Brown, General Manager of the Astros, take a bow. Alex Anthopoulos, General Manager of the Braves, take a bow. David Dombrowski, President, Sam Fall, General Manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, take a bow. Matt Arnold, General Manager of the Brewers. Andrew Friedman, President. Brandon Gomes, General Manager of the Dodgers. A.J. Preller, General Manager of the Padres. Mike Hazen, Executive Vice President, General Manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. David Stearns, President of the New York Mets. And yes, Brian Cashman, Senior Vice President and General Manager of the New York Yankees. Everyone there did their job. Oh, you may have issues with this. You may have issues with that. You may get mad at Cashman at this or Stearns at that. You may have wanted Matt Arnold to do this or Dana Brown to do that. But when it comes down to it, the job of the general manager is to put together a team that gives their fans a summer of entertainment. And every team I just listed made it to Labor Day, ostensibly the end of the summer, with their team in position to win a playoff spot. The one exception of the Mets, who are half a game out, who all it will take is one bad Braves day and one good Mets game, and they could flip-flop. But for Met fans, you got a summer. All these teams got their summer. Now, there are some teams like the Mariners, like the Cardinals, who were playoff teams at one point or another, but they couldn't get this far. Every GM I just mentioned did what they're supposed to do. Put a product on their field to entertain your fans, to give them a fun summer, and with Labor Day in the rearview mirror, still look around and say, we could win this thing. Whatever happens over the next few weeks, you can't blame the general manager. Oh, I'm sure there's ways you can blame the manager, but they all got him to this point. And philosophically, that is the purpose of a Major League Baseball season. Philosophically, that is the purpose of a Major League Baseball team, to provide entertainment for the summer. Now, you may have gone to see a movie. You may have gone to see, what was a big movie of this summer? I guess it would be Twisters or Beetlejuice, or Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know. Neither do you. Is that the way you've had your entertainment for the summer? Was your entertainment this summer listening to music or going to the beach? Or was it following a baseball team? Or was it watching that wackadoodle Olympics, which was surreal but kind of fun? Those teams, Orioles, Yankees, Guardians, Twins, Royals, Astros, Braves, Phillies, Brewers, Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, are all playoff teams with Labor Day in the rearview mirror, and the Mets are knocking on the door. So as mad as you may get at Cashman or whomever, for this year, the job was done. Now, you may say championship or bust. Well, congratulations, you live a miserable life. The job of a Major League Baseball team is to provide you entertainment for the summer, and all of those teams did. Oh, there were bumpy rides. Oh, there were moments of what's going on? Are we falling apart? Is it this, that, or the other thing, this? But the fact of the matter is, you're a fan of any of those teams, congratulations. You're going into September playing meaningful ball. Well, I asked this trivia question the other day, so if we got an answer to it, we'll bring it up again last time. Joe Torre managed the Yankees to the ALCS many times and all the way to the World Series and World Series title several times as Yankee manager. We all know that Rivera closed out a bunch of those ALCSs. We all know that John Wetland closed out one and Aaron Boone homered 10 another. Who was the only pitcher to clinch an American League Championship Series for Joe Torre's Yankees, not named Wetland, Boone, or Rivera? That is your, an ALCS. That is your trivia question. So follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter and Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Talking about how a couple of unlikely pitchers could be the key to a Cleveland pennant. How a closer in New York has to be shut down. And how a strange slugger in Philadelphia has another World Series ring possibly dancing in his head. This has been Locked On MLB. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Achoo, go my allergies, and you can call me Sully.